What if I told you there's a country where people are 4 times less likely to die from a heart attack compared to the United States? A place where heart disease is not the leading cause of death, despite an aging population. What's even more surprising is that this isn't due to some cutting-edge medical technology, but a simple set of lifestyle habits that anyone can easily adopt, no matter their age or current health status. For every million Americans, around 1,160 people die each year from heart attack. That rate drops to 840 in the United Kingdom, and in Canada, 795. But scroll way down to the bottom of the statistics, and at just 300 deaths per year, nearly a quarter of the US death rate, is Japan. So what are the Japanese doing so well? And what can we learn from them? In today's video, we'll explore why Japan's premature death rate is so low. After all, it's not only heart attack that Japanese avoid. We'll explore specific foods and lifestyle habits to adopt for a happier heart and better life, as well as one policy that significantly improved blood pressure and slashed stomach cancer rates in Japan. Before we get into specifics, Japanese have an overall lower BMI, an important marker for heart attack. The body mass index is used to predict health outcomes based on body fat, because over and over again, research shows that excess fat, especially deep visceral fat around the organs, leads to hormone dysfunction, type 2 diabetes, and increased risk for heart attack. Obesity matters. That's why doctors often tell people to lose 10% weight, because excess fat has real consequences for the liver, pancreas, and a host of consequences that follow from there. We'll discuss hara hachi bu in a moment. But first, genetics do play a role. However, they're only one piece of the puzzle that we ultimately can't control. Researchers compared Japanese living in Japan against Japanese living in Hawaii, aiming to understand the impact of diet and lifestyle. The study found staggering differences. Although smoking and drinking rates were higher in Japan, those living in Japan had lower BMI, better triglyceride profiles, and lower risk for cardiovascular disease. Researchers highlight diet as a major contributor, which brings us to number 10, fermented foods. Who would have thought fermenting food could have such a big impact? The probiotics in fermented foods help to balance your gut microbiome, leading to better digestion and absorption of nutrients. This in turn supports overall cardiovascular health. Furthermore, fermented foods aid in lowering blood pressure. Certain fermented foods contain bioactive peptides that act as natural ACE inhibitors, similar to some blood pressure medications. These peptides help relax your blood vessels, improving blood flow and reducing the strain on your heart. In addition, fermented foods boost immunity and may even contribute to better mental health due to the gut-brain axis connection. In Japan, fermented foods come with every meal, such as soybean-based miso soup, natto, shoyu, and tamari, tsukemono, which are essentially pickled vegetables, kombucha, the fermented tea taking the world by storm, and kimchi. Although originally from Korea, another country with extremely low heart disease rates, kimchi is a spicy fermented cabbage dish that's popular in Japan. So add a few of these to your weekly rotation to boost your gut microbiome, improve immunity and blood pressure, and reduce your risk for heart attack. Next, another protective food, fish. On average, Japanese adults eat 100 grams of fish daily. Numerous studies show that those who eat the most fish are at a significantly lower risk of developing coronary heart disease. Fish is a healthy source of protein, and its omega-3 fatty acids actively reduce inflammation, lower blood pressure, and improve heart function. Of course, You want to be careful with which fish you eat, as some contain dangerous levels of heavy metals, antibiotics, and other pollution. Some of the most heart-healthy include wild-caught salmon, sardines, anchovies, cod, trout, and some types of tuna. For more on the best and worst, you might like to watch our video on 7 kinds of fish you should never eat. We'll leave a link to that in the description box. At number 8, seaweed is a cornerstone of Japanese culinary tradition. This marine vegetable is consumed in various forms, from the delicate sheets that hug sushi rolls, to nori flakes sprinkled atop cooked meals. Seaweed is an excellent source of essential vitamins and minerals, including iodine, vitamin A, vitamin K, potassium, and B vitamins. Iodine is crucial for thyroid health, while other compounds in seaweed help protect the body against oxidative stress. Seaweed is another good source of omega-3 fatty acids, playing a significant role by reducing inflammation. Plus, it contains bioactive compounds like fucoxanthin, which has potent antioxidant and anti-obesity effects. Some Westerners take seaweed in supplement form, such as spirulina, chlorella, or dulse. But that's the exception to the rule. In Japan, these foods are a daily staple, so consider experimenting with seaweed over your salads, cooked dishes, or a little chlorella in your smoothie. Next we have Hara Hachi Bu. Hara Hachi Bu translates to eat until you are 80% full. This philosophy is deeply ingrained in Japanese culture and contributes significantly to their exceptional longevity and low heart disease. Unlike many Western cultures, where there's a tendency to eat until completely full, Hara Hachi Bu emphasizes a more mindful approach to eating. It's not only about portion control, but also about truly appreciating food, savoring each bite and not eating too much. And what do they drink? That's right, green tea. Green tea is extremely rich in antioxidants, particularly catechins, which protect the body against oxidative stress. These antioxidants are powerful in fighting free radicals, reducing the risk of chronic diseases such as heart disease, cancers, and diabetes. Green tea is associated with improved artery function, which can significantly reduce the risk of heart attacks and stroke. Green tea has also been shown to boost metabolic rate, making it a powerful ally if you're trying to lose weight. Beyond heart health, green tea is linked to improved brain function, including a lower risk of neurodegenerative diseases, such as Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, as well as enhancing alertness, performance, and mood. Are you finding this useful? Click the like button and click subscribe to see future videos. At number 5, Japanese don't eat as much sugar as any other countries. On average, Japanese people consume less than half the sugar per person compared to the United States. Sugar is potentially the number one culprit in the Western diet crisis, causing glycation, where excess sugar molecules bond to proteins or fats in the blood, causing arteries to become stiff and narrow. This is the leading cause of heart disease, medically known as atherosclerosis, restricting blood flow and causing blood clots. The problem is that in many countries, sugar has saturated our daily diet, not only in the obvious things like adding sugar to your coffee or drinking a soda, but also in processed foods, breads, sauces, and more. Which brings us to number 4. Japanese eat less processed foods. Unlike many Western countries, where processed foods have become staples, Japanese prioritize fresh, whole foods, even in restaurants. Processed foods are often loaded with trans fats, artificial flavors, colors, high fructose corn syrup, and chemical preservatives, ingredients that the body doesn't know how to handle, making them more appealing and addictive. but coming with a very high health cost. For example, artificial flavors and colors found in pre-prepared meals, TV dinners, soups, microwave popcorn, and cookies. And of course, the high levels of sugar and fake sugars like high fructose corn syrup added to processed foods all skyrocket obesity, type 2 diabetes, and heart disease. These Frankenstein foods have become a significant factor in the global rise in diet-related diseases. In contrast, the Japanese diet emphasizes fresh fish, vegetables, seaweed, and fermented foods, all of which provide essential nutrients without the harmful effects of ultra-processed foods. At number 3, Japanese move a lot. Unlike in many Western countries where sedentary lifestyles have become the norm, Japanese integrate physical activity throughout daily life. For instance, the ancient martial art of Tai Chi, with its gentle, flowing movements, is not only a form of self-defense, but also a daily ritual to enhance physical health and reduce stress. Similarly, practices like Kinkin, walking meditation in Zen Buddhism, emphasizes mindful movement as a habit. Gardening is a common activity, promoting gentle movement into old age. Furthermore, traditional Japanese homes contribute to a more active lifestyle through tatami mats. People sit on the floor cross-legged, which, unlike sitting on chairs, engages the leg and core muscles, constantly maintaining flexibility and posture. Then to stand, they need to use their muscles much more than passively getting up from a chair. Likewise, public transport is a standard way to get around, rather than using cars. This naturally requires walking or biking to and from train stations each day. As the saying goes, use it or lose it. By constantly using their muscles and balance from childhood to old age, Japanese retain their strength and balance, with knock-on effects for full body function. At number 2, a deeply ingrained value for Japanese is their sense of community. While less common nowadays, traditional moai are lifelong social groups. These tight-knit circles provide emotional, social, and even financial support, acting as a safety net during hard times. Modern research is increasingly showing that just like stress, social connection is a soft yet significant marker, correlated with reduced blood pressure, heart attack, and overall health outcomes. Unfortunately, in the rat race of many Western societies, community has taken a backseat. So, if you can, say yes to opportunities for social connection. Take up a hobby room, join community events, call old friends you've lost contact with, or just have a chat with your neighbor. It isn't wasted effort. At number 1, Japan invests heavily in public health, focusing on prevention. Japan's healthcare system is renowned for its emphasis on prevention. Central to this preventative strategy is the widespread practice of regular health checkups. Comprehensive screenings offered annually are designed to catch potential health issues early on, before they escalate into more serious conditions. That's exactly what we're trying to do with this YouTube channel. Healthcare services are accessible for all, supported by Japan's universal healthcare system, which ensures that every resident has access to affordable, high-quality medical care. One of the most notable public health campaigns in Japan has been the effort to reduce excess salt intake. Recognizing the link between excess salt consumption and stomach cancer, which was previously high in Japan, the government launched an extensive campaign to educate people on the risks of excessive salt consumption. As a result, people altered their diets, contributing to a decline in stomach cancer rates. So, if you're not living in Japan, how can you take advantage of all this knowledge? For a simple but comprehensive plan, watch our video on 9 amazing ways to quickly improve triglyceride levels and heart health. We'll leave a link to that in the description, or click the image on screen. If you found this information useful, click the like button and click subscribe to see more practical heart health videos as we release them.